This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show. Thank you for checking out this video. I wanted to give everybody an update on my eating plan and the way I'm currently eating. I've written many books over the years on the raw food diet and lifestyle, and my specialty comes down to digestion. Because when I was sick, I got diagnosed with something called inflammatory bowel disease, also known as ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease. And pretty much my digestion was all messed up. When you have inflammatory bowel disease, your intestines is inflamed. And that was the situation I was in. And the doctors, medicine, and drugs gave me relief from my condition, but the only thing to cure my condition was eating less. And I realized that when I stopped eating and when I was in an inflamed stage of my colon, I didn't want to eat at all. The only answer was not to try to take more things. It was to take less things and let the body rest and do what it was designed to do. I read many books years ago on fasting by Arnold Ehret called Rational Fasting, a book by Paul Braggs called The Miracle of Fasting. And I always thought the idea made sense to me that if the disease is created within the body, when you give it what it doesn't need, well, when you give it what it does need, it helps the body overcome the disease. And I have a lecture about the formula for health that talks about power minus obstruction equaling vitality. And basically, Dr. Fred Bishy, who's been eating a raw vegan diet for over 60 years, gave me great advice when he says health doesn't begin what you add to your diet, it's what you eliminate, where you start to get to the cure of certain things. Well, all this led up to me eating less and less and less. And I made a video, I'll put the link below the video, recently about how and why I'm only eating every other day now. Only eating every other day, and the things that are going on with my diet since then. And since I made that video about a month ago, and I still continue to experiment with this, it's been, I don't know, since maybe 6 months or 7 months that I've been eating every other day, or some days I wasn't eating every other day. I was eating the days I would go to the gym I would eat, and the days I weren't eating. So I was going to the gym 4 days a week, and the days that I wasn't going to the gym I wasn't eating. So I was fasting 3 days a week, and sometimes 2 of those days fell together. But then I switched over to eating every other day, and that's what I've been doing now, and feeling amazing for it. As a matter of fact, today is one of the days I'm not eating. But I continually want to take this to a higher level. And now I started to do something. I was doing juices on the days that I'm not eating. Then I was doing water. But then some days I would do dry fasting. And I read a lot about dry fasting in my work with healing people from inflammatory bowel disease and other things, and how dry fasting will help people in certain conditions. And it's very popular in Russia and sometimes in India. And not a lot of people know about that. So I've experimented with dry fasting over the years, but on this particular fast, or this particular diet that I'm doing now, I've been eating. And the days I'm not eating, I've been juice fasting, I've been water fasting, and some days even dry fasting. And just trying to put it all together. And now I want to incorporate the daylight diet into it. Is the days I do eat, not eating late at night. And because it's not about binging one day and not eating another day. That's not what I'm doing, folks. That's not what I'm trying to do. And I just want to make more of a system to it, so I'm not just saying eat when I'm hungry the next day when I do eat. So my goal is to eat only 2 times a day, the days I do eat, and many days I'm successful at that. There are some days I'm not successful at that. So I want to be honest with people, but I'm getting better and better and working towards that. And the times I don't want to eat late at night because I know I'm not going to eat the next day. That's another trap people can get into. I wrote a book called The Daylight Diet, and I believe it's so important not to eat late at night. And so the earlier we finish eating, the better. And so not only do I want to eat 2 times a day, I want to eat not late at night. And some people say, or a question I often get is, what is your goal? Why are you doing this? And I'm not doing this to be different. I'm not doing it to be special. I'm doing this because I sincerely, honestly believe that we as humans eat way too much, too often, and too late. And I think the best way to be healthy as possible is by eating the highest quality food possible, but not too much of it. Because even if you get the highest quality food but eat too much of it, it can create a problem. The body does not need a tremendous amount of food and have to do a tremendous amount of work like so many people are doing today. I do believe overeating and gluttony is one of the major causes of disease out there today. I always say overeating and undersleeping are two of the major causes of disease. And one leads to the other. Because the more you eat, the more your body has to work and the more sleep you require. Most people don't have enough time to get the amount of sleep they actually need. So what do? They take drugs like caffeine to stay awake, making the problem even worse. I found out the less you eat, the less sleep you require, giving your body an opportunity to get the proper amount of sleep it truly needs. So that's something that I want to obtain, and my goal is to I don't want to be sick. That's number one. So this is why I'm doing this. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to deal with sickness. I don't want to deal with disease. I want to be as healthy as I possibly can. And number two is I want to see how I can live life to its fullest potential. And it's not just about being sick. It's about just being at my best. Not just striving, but thriving. That's a big difference. Our mental capacity, physical capacity, and I feel stronger than I ever had in my life. I feel sharper than I've ever been in my life. And I'm at the age now where people start complaining about, oh, we're getting old, we're getting all these things, we're not young anymore. And I'm feeling like this is the fountain of youth. So I'm really so thrilled and excited about this. Well, when I was writing my book, The Daylight Diet, there were several books that I read to do the research for it. And one of these books is one of my favorite books. I read one. I made a video about one the other day called "The Stomach Speaks," or "People's Stomach Speaks." Well, here's another book I want to talk about real briefly. It's called Quantum Eating. Quantum Eating by Tanya Savasta, and Quantum Eating by Tanya Savasta, and she talks all about everything that I discuss, and it's amazing how my ideas and her ideas are so similar about this. And one of the chapters in particular that I like, she says, everyone today that's talking about eating less or eating once a day or eating just twice a day or cutting down the meals they eat, every one of them speaks about eating late at night. And that is something that myself and Tanya had discovered is not the ideal thing to do. It's eating earlier in the day and not eating late at night. That's the ideal way to do it, I believe. So, and then when you're not eating, that's another important thing. When you're not eating, dry fasting. So not just juicing or even doing water, dry fasting. And in the last video I made, I was talking about discussions about water and distilled water versus osmosis water versus ionized water. And the more research and the more praying I did about this particular subject, I've come to the same conclusion that Tanya had come to in this book is, even though reverse osmosis water is dead water, and you have the ionized water, and I think they're both good from a detoxification standpoint. I think if you're doing a fast, a long-term fast or something, I think distilled or reverse osmosis water would be ideal, but might not be best long-term as the ideal water. I think alkalizing water has its benefits for a healing situation of somebody overcoming a disease or something, but long-term it might not be the best. Trying the alkalizing water for just a couple of weeks, the taste to me wasn't good. I didn't like it. I just didn't like the taste of alkalizing water. And I tried it several different machines in several different places. Can't do that. The distilled and reverse osmosis water I like, but still, it's dead water. So the research or the praying and everything I found, the ideal water for our bodies is the water that we get from fresh fruits and vegetables. So if you're eating a good amount of fruits and vegetables, you don't need to drink plain water. And this concept to me is completely something I always really didn't put much thought into in the past, but I always tried to obtain to drink a certain amount of water, but I realized I'm not walking around eating cooked food, so I can't be held to the same accountability of needing the same amount of water as the average person. I'm eating the juiciest fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. So why should I be needing to drink the same amount of water as somebody who's like literally swallowing a dry sponge when they're eating cooked food? I'm not getting dehydrated from eating fruits and vegetables. You get dehydrated from eating dehydrated foods, foods that are cooked and do not have liquid in them. But if you're sitting all day eating oranges and apples and grapes and carrots and these things that have liquid in them, you're going to be well dehydrated with the highest quality of water, especially and assuming that it's organic. You're going to be fine. So I've been experimenting with that lately. I went from drinking 32 to 64 ounces of water a day, and now I'm getting, if I do get plain water now, it might just be in a smoothie or something. And if I am going to drink distilled water, reverse osmosis water, I'll take some lemon and maybe sprinkle some lemon in there and maybe put a little salt in there. Just try to do something to it to bring some life to that water. But I don't need that anymore. So the simplicity of the diet continues to get better, and it's encouraging to see Tanya write about this. So I do recommend this book, Quantum Eating. And I also recommend my book, The Daylight Diet. They go hand in hand together to speak about why we shouldn't be eating late and juicing. You talk about the best water you can get for your body. Get a juicer. And there you go. There's your water. So I've been juicing every day. And the way I've been doing it is on my days that I've been eating, I've been starting off the day with juice because I hadn't eaten all the previous day. The previous day, I've either been juicing some fruit juice or vegetable juice throughout the day, but now I've been doing more water, but now I've been doing more dry fasting. So if I go, so let's say I stop eating, let's say 5 o'clock. Let's say I ate yesterday, let's say. So let's say I stopped eating yesterday at 5 p.m. I had my last meal at 5 p.m. Did my work, did whatever, got sleep, 10 o'clock at night, let's say. So now, if I didn't eat or drink anything from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. So now that's 5 hours already that I've went on a dry fast. Then let's say I go to sleep or whatever. Now 5 o'clock in the morning. So let's say I went to sleep at 10 o'clock at night. I get up 5 o'clock in the morning. I slept 7 hours. So now I went from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. 12 hours on a dry fast. No water or nothing. No food, no water, anything. Then let's say, if this day I'm not eating. So let's say I go to 5 p.m., 5 o'clock in the evening, with still no water or nothing. It's still dry fasting. Now I've went almost 24 hours on a dry fast. And then I have a choice. At that point, even because this is a not eating day now, I have a choice. I could continue to not eat and continue to do a dry fast, which I did just a couple of days ago and I felt amazing. Or I could at that point drink some water or even a vegetable juice and still know, okay, I didn't eat today, but I had a nice, good dry fast. And now I'm going to drink some juice, feel a little better, go to sleep, and be fine. And this is something you can't just do overnight. This is something you got to work up to, dry fasting. You got to have a lot of experience with water fasting or even juice fasting before you can even get into dry fasting and feel comfortable doing it. And these are just some ideas, and I've been doing this a long time that I have and had and think about, and things I'm doing. And I can tell you, I weighed myself today. Listen to this. I don't know how many calories I'm getting, but I'm getting less calories than I've ever gotten. Two amazing things happened this week with this. One thing, I weighed myself today at the gym. I went to go exercise. Yes, I'm exercising on an empty stomach without eating. So I went to go exercise, and I weighed 138 pounds. For the last 17 years of my life, I weighed 140 pounds. Now I'm functioning between 135 and 140. Just 2 pounds or 3 pounds I'm losing and doing this for 6 or 7 months or so. It's amazing. So that's one of the really amazing things I noticed this week, and just exercising, feeling better than ever, and I'm just not as hungry, and just feeling great. I have no gut anymore. My stomach is flat. So I'm just really excited, and I'll continue to update you on these ideas about just eating less and thriving. And remember, some people might say, well, where are you getting your nutrients from? I'm eating highly nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables, but I do believe you can't get all your nutrients you need from fruits and vegetables because the soil and everything is so depleted today. So I do take some supplements. I take vitamin B12, vitamin D. I'm taking vitamin K. I'm taking vitamin B6, and so a few other things. But I'm taking some supplements. But my supplements, even I've pretty much cut down on the supplements, and just thriving, eating less and feeling well. Some questions: do I take supplements on the days I'm not eating? And my answer right now is no. Right now I'm not. But I do get the vitamins and nutrients I need from the fruits and vegetables that I'm juicing if I do juice. So those are some answers for you, and I'll continue to update on this process. And my sleep, I'm getting more sleep now than I told you in my last video. I wanted to get more sleep. So now I'm averaging about 6 to 6.5 hours a night. I've gotten, over the last 6 months, I'm getting about 5 hours a night sleep with no problem, but I just know my body can use more. So I'm getting about 6 to 6.5 hours a night sleep. And the only reason I'm not getting more is I just haven't had time, because I'm up very early in the morning with my work and what I'm doing. So I just haven't had time. But I think if I stayed in bed, if I got another hour's sleep, I think I'd wake up and I'd be fine. And so the amount of sleep somebody needs can differ between people, but but the reason why I'm getting more sleep now is I'm getting to sleep earlier, and I'm doing better. So I got some other ideas that I'm thinking about that I'm going to start to implant and make videos about and discuss with it. If you put your comments and questions below the video, I'll talk about it with you. And no, folks, I'm not crazy and I'm not a fraud. I'm doing this for real. I've been eating mostly raw vegan diet all these years. I'm going to monitor my blood work to make sure everything's good. I'm not just going by how I feel or just some idea that sounds good. And, some people say, I know what you're saying to eat less, but we love to eat. I said, well, if you eat less, you live longer, and then you get to eat more. How does that sound? All right, put your comments or questions below the video. Thank you for checking this out, and I'll make another video and update on this real soon. Until then, everybody, if you want to subscribe to my website, rawlifehealthshow.com. It's a member website. You can go in there and you can check that out for 3 days for just $1, and you can get yourself 10% off anything on my website. So check that out, rawlifehealthshow.com. All right, everybody, have a blessed day and have a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.